For this assessment, I have chosen to critique the back squat, because until very recently, I rarely looked at my own ability to squat. It's recommended that an individual is first able to demonstrate proficiency during the bodyweight back squat, before advancing to more intense variations and derivatives of squatting, such as externally loaded squats and plyometric training. Therefore, for the remainder of my analysis, I shall demonstrate my technique using a dowel. Back squat exercise is most often prescribed with the athlete starting in a standing position, with the feet flat on the floor, the knees and hips in neutral, extended anatomical position, and the spine in an upright position with preservation of its natural curves. The bar or dowel should be held with a slightly pronated grip, greater than shoulder width apart, with the bar resting comfortably just below the spine of scapula. The bar should be held directly over the middle of the foot to ensure the forces of gravity that are acting on the bar in the hold position are balanced. The forearms should be kept parallel to the torso. From my arm position in this section, my shoulders are not in the retracted and depressed position that they should be, which will affect the supporting back muscles that contribute to spinal stability. This flare in the elbows has an impact on my ability to keep my torso in an upright position and causes me to lean forward during the descent. The implications of this may put me at risk of injury, and it is essential that this issue is corrected before the weight is applied through the squat. Exercises to set the scapula and retrain effective scapulohumeral rhythm will strengthen the ability to keep the shoulders in a retracted and depressed position. The squat movement begins with the hip, knee and ankle all flexed to start the descent. The instruction is given to complete the descent phase until the thigh is parallel with the ground and the hip joint is at least level or slightly below the knee. As I descend down, the elbow flare that I discussed previously is affecting my ability to maintain the correct back position. This is then causing an excessive extension in the thoracic spine, and the ability to maintain an upright position is compromised. It is suggested that the trunk angle should be parallel with the tibia angles. In this case, the flexion of the torso relative to dorsiflexion of the ankle is greater. This may indicate a strength issue highlighting an adequate core to maintain a parallel torso and a lack of lower lumbar tightness to stabilise the spine. This could be caused by trunk and hip extensor weakness, and it could also point to mobility issues highlighting excessive hip flexor and trunk extensor tightness and a lack of lumbar spine stability. There are a few exercises that can be done to correct this issue. Here's an example of an assisted squat to help maintain and encourage neutral spine and pelvis during the exercise. This should also help with squat depth. This video shows the most downwards phase of my squat. As you can see from the angles created, I cannot reach the expected line of parallel to the floor or below. The correct technique in this phase should show square and stable hips, and the squat depth should be determined by the position of the hips. It is suggested that by maintaining a neutral pelvic tilt during the squat, this would increase activity of the erector spinae and oblique muscles, reducing the injury risk to the lower back. The gluteus maximus is the muscle responsible for stabilising the pelvis. As well as the gluteal muscles, the quadriceps and hamstring muscle groups must bear the load of the squat. Looking at the squatting video, it shows improper recruitment of the quadriceps and hamstring group. It shows that the quadricep muscle tightness is resulting in a less than parallel squat depth, which pulls the pelvis into an anteriorly tilted position. To improve range of motion and mobility of the quadriceps, foam rolling and stretching exercises may be performed. This will improve muscle length and decrease the pull on the ASIS, or anterior superior iliac spine, which pulls the pelvis into an anteriorly tilted position. I will also include box squats and goblet squats as an exercise to increase depth by retraining mobility to squat below the parallel level. From the front, you can see that the knees are in the correct aligned position with no evidence of asymmetry. Therefore, the mechanical problems of the squat in this case look like they originate from the hip and spine movement.